In this video, I'm going to make pizza the old-fashioned way from a kit. Welcome to the Average Me channel. Today, we're going to make pizza. Now, if I'm like most people, and I think I am, you probably get your pizza from two places. Number one, you probably get it from a pizza restaurant. You order out, do carry out from a place like Domino's or Pizza Hut. Or if you want a little better pizza, although that could be argued. I know a lot of people like Pizza Hut and Domino's. But you may have a favorite pizza restaurant in your neighborhood that you like to order from, or maybe even go and eat there in the restaurant. But if you want to have your pizza at home, the other alternative is probably a frozen pizza. But how often do people actually make their own pizza at home? Here in Florida, there is a popular grocery store chain called Publix, and at Publix you can buy ready-made pizza crust dough. And of course, you can buy all kinds of pizza sauces. You can buy them in cans and in jars, and I suppose that you can probably even get them more fresh made. If you're really a do-it-yourselfer, you can make everything from scratch, including your own pizza sauce, getting the garlic and the tomato paste and tomato sauce. And I don't know, I've never done that. But in this video, we're making it from a kit, specifically this Chef Boyardee kit. Now, when I was a kid, I remember making, well, I didn't make it. My dad probably did, making the Chef Boyardee pizza at home. And I always thought, well, it really isn't as good as the pizza that we get when we order out. And yet, it's kind of nostalgic. And when I made this today, it really felt good to taste that old Chef Boyardee pizza. Now, this is the pizza kit that I found, and it is so similar to what I remember so many years ago when I was a kid, except for one thing. And now this is the double size, so it's supposed to make two pizzas. It comes with 2 bags of the pizza flour. Everything is already prepared. You just have to add water, and it comes with a sauce, Chef Boyardee special sauce. We'll talk about that in a minute. But you know what it didn't come with? Cheese. But it does say here, it's easy, family, fun. So let's take a look and see how much fun it actually was. But first, we're going to find out a little bit about this guy, Chef Boyardee. Yes, there really was a Chef Boyardee. Now, this is not going to be a Chef Boyardee video as far as a character, but I'll tell you a few things. His name is not spelled like that. That is the phonetic spelling of his name. I guess he wanted to make it more Americanized so they could market this product. And also, the Chef Boyardee pizza that I remember as a kid always came with some Parmesan cheese, not fresh cheese, but it was in an envelope or a package of some sort, and you would sprinkle it on. So it was that kind of sprinkled cheese like they have sitting on the tables when you go to the restaurants, and you sprinkle that on whatever food you have. And that's what it was. And in this one, they didn't have that. So I thought, to keep this pure, I am going to use that when I make the pizza today. So let's get started. So the first thing they tell you is to preheat that oven to 425 degrees. Then get out a bowl, empty the pizza crust flour, and all you have to do is add water. For one crust, it was 2/3 of a cup of water, and it tells you to take a fork and mix it up until the whole thing is moist. But I'll tell you, I mixed this up. Now, I made 2 pizzas because this is a 2-pizza kit, and both times there's no way you're going to get it completely mixed up with just a fork. So I got my hands in there, and I made sure that all of that flour was very well mixed. And I guess you probably don't want to overmix. Now, I don't know what happens with dough if it gets overmixed, but I've always heard it said don't overmix. I don't know if it gets too tough or chewy or something. So you just make sure that the whole thing is mixed, and then you have to let it sit. Before you let it sit, however, you're supposed to pour 1 tablespoon of oil over it. Now, I thought 1 tablespoon of oil seemed like an awful lot, so I only used about 1/2 tablespoon. That I covered up with a cloth. As per the instructions, I let it sit for about 12 minutes, and it didn't look any different to me, but it's ready to spread out that dough. Now, I don't think you're going to be able to toss this dough in the air and catch it. Maybe you can. I wasn't going to try it, but it does say, and when I was a kid, we always just spread it out onto a pan, either a cookie sheet. I don't think we ever used a round pizza pan when I was a kid. In this instruction sheet, it does show a round pizza pan, but I just used a cookie sheet. I put down some parchment paper because I didn't want it to stick to the pan and I want it to be an easier cleanup. It doesn't say that in the instructions, but it worked really well. So here I am spreading out that dough. The hardest thing about spreading that dough is doing it thin enough that it covers the whole sheet so it doesn't break up because it wants to split open. So you got to be careful that you're not pushing everything to the outside. I found if I didn't use my fingers but used my whole hand, the palm of my hand, and kind of spread it out and worked it, it worked a lot better. When I spread it with my fingers, it wanted to break and spread apart and have little holes in it. And I remember that from doing this years ago. So I just used my whole hand and it worked really well. I suppose here as well, you wouldn't want to overwork it. Again, I don't know exactly what that would do, but I just spread it out as best I could and it worked pretty well. I kept a little edge all the way around because we wanted to contain that sauce. And then it was time to spread the sauce. Now, this kit that makes two pizzas only comes with one can of sauce, so you have to divide it, which is what I did, and I spread that sauce. I wasn't looking to try to make it perfect. I don't think you're going to. Just spread it all over the place so it's relatively even throughout the pizza. As that pizza cooks, it seems to compensate. Don't leave any wide open spaces and don't oversaturate in any area, and I think you'll be fine. And then it was time to put on the cheese. I sprinkled that powdered Parmesan cheese just like I used to years and years ago, just like what used to come with the kit. I wanted to make it pretty original. I still took a little bit of real cheese and spread that throughout the pizza. Now, if it were my choice, I would have used mozzarella. I didn't have any mozzarella, so I used a little bit of cheddar. I didn't make it too thick. I just wanted a little additional cheese flavor. Then I put it in the oven and I let that bake for 14 minutes. Now, some of you may think that's overcooking a pizza. It's all how you want the pizza. Now, I think if you really wanted a crispy crust, you could put the crust in and bake that for 5 or 6 minutes. Then take it out, do the sauce, do the cheese, and put it back in to finish cooking. And I think you'd have a little bit crisper of a crust. The crust I had was more like a hand tossed. It was a softer crust, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. So when I took that pizza out, because it was on the parchment paper, it was so easy to slide that onto a cutting board. And that pizza pan was clean as can be. Now, I really didn't have to wash it. I did run a wet cloth over it just to make sure that I picked anything up that may have spilled, but nothing did. It was perfectly clean. Then it was time to cut it, and I used my ulu. I don't know if you know what an ulu is, but I use it for everything. A few years back when I was in Alaska, I picked up this ulu, and it's a tool that they use, the indigenous people up there. They use it for everything, and I find it is the perfect tool for cutting pizza. It works so much better than a pizza wheel. So that's what I use to cut my pizza. But now, my favorite part, tasting this pizza. It reminds me of home, and when I was a little kid, we used to make this all the time. That pizza was so good. It just took me back to my childhood. Now, was it as good as something from a pizzeria? No. Was it as good as a frozen pizza? I don't know. That's a matter of personal preference. But you can make that pizza as good as you want because you have the sauce, you have the crust. Put whatever topping you want on it. And if it's not good, you only have yourself to blame. I hope you enjoyed my journey into the past as I made Chef Boyardee's pizza kit. This was something quite original and groundbreaking when it came out in 1955. People could make pizza at home just by using this kit. If you haven't tried it, give it a try. Is it easy family fun? I don't know. I enjoyed it. It might be something that you can do with your boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, the kids. Have a good time, and you get something great to eat afterwards. Thanks for watching. As always, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you here next time on the Average Me channel.